Happy Switch 2 weekend everyone. Hopefully, if you had a pre-order, you got your brand new shiny console and you're already tearing up the track on Mario Kart World. I figured with the release of the new Nintendo Switch 2, it would be a perfect opportunity to take a look back at some of my personal favourite Nintendo Switch games. I got my original Nintendo Switch console way back in 2017, and that is 8 years ago, which is scary to think about. I was still living at home with my partner's parents and I was still at university. Time definitely does fly. But over those 8 years, I built up a pretty decent collection of some more obscure Nintendo Switch games. You know me, right? I love my JRPGs and my Japanese games, and I figured I could give you guys some more obscure recommendations. Some things a bit different from your Mario games, your Zelda games, and just something a bit different than your traditional first party Nintendo games. So hopefully there's a couple of games here that you can pick up and either play on your OG Nintendo Switch or your brand new Nintendo Switch 2 console. And I want to hear from you guys. Let me know in the comments down below if you have picked up a brand new Nintendo Switch 2, and let me know what games you're playing on it. Me personally, I'm gonna wait and hold off on picking up a Nintendo Switch 2. There's not really anything on there that's really pulling me in, and unless I get drawn in by the hype, I think I'm gonna be patient and just wait a couple of months to see how everything pans out. But who knows, things could change. And with the Nintendo Switch 2 being backwards compatible, I think now is a great time to really bolster and bulk out your Nintendo Switch collection. And if you haven't even jumped into the fantastic Nintendo Switch console, now is definitely the time, as places like eBay, Facebook Marketplace is being flooded with a ton of Nintendo Switch consoles from people who are looking to pick up the brand new console. So even if you're not interested in the brand new Nintendo Switch 2 console, you can still pick up some great games and enjoy the fantastic collection of Nintendo Switch games. So got plenty of great games to go through, so let's jump into the list and go over my first recommendation. Alright, this game is a massive curveball, but I wanted to kick things off with a game that you might not have heard of before. And the first game is Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. Doki Doki Literature Club Plus is a strange, unsettling visual novel game described as a psychological horror mystery where you join a high school literature club and write poems to impress your classmates. Man, how the hell do I even describe this game without giving it away? I'm not going to dive too deep into it because I think the best way to experience this game is to go in as blind as possible, but this game is no joke. Trust me, it's an 18 for a reason. It is very disturbing and very weird and unsettling, and some of the things that you go through in this visual novel is going to stick with me forever. It's very, very disturbing. Don't be fooled by the cute anime girls. I was playing this game, I played it back in 2023 on a Christmas Day of all days, and I was playing this game. It took me about 5-6 hours to beat, and I was thinking, there's no way this is a horror game. The developer is definitely trolling me. It can't be an 18, but then something very, very disturbing happened, and from then on the game just gets weirder and weirder. And it's not going to be for everyone, but if you're into more niche visual novel games, which I think are a perfect place to play on the Nintendo Switch in terms of playing visual novel games, then this is definitely one I'd recommend. Like I said, very, very weird. If you are sensitive to disturbing imagery, then this is definitely one to stay away from. But for me, I love playing this game, and I'm going to always think back to Christmas 2023, playing through this, and I had a great time, and I just love visual novel games, and this won't be the last one on this list. Next up, we've got a game that I think is criminally overlooked when it comes to puzzle games, and I don't really hear many people talking about it when they talk about the best Nintendo Switch games, but I absolutely love this. Got Puyo Puyo Tetris 2, and I absolutely love playing this, and I've got so many hours playing it. So you've obviously got the classic Tetris game with a twist. So Puyo Puyo is basically Sega's version of Dr. Mario, only this time you're aligning blobs rather than blocks. in Dr. Mario, but yeah, I absolutely love this game. What makes Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 stand out is the sheer chaos and fun of mixing these two puzzle styles. Whether you're battling friends locally, going online, or just working through the surprisingly charming story mode, there's a ton of variety here. You can even play Tetris while your friend plays Puyo, which adds a unique twist to competitive matches. I'm not a massive puzzle head when it comes to games, but you can't go wrong with Tetris. It's an absolute classic and everyone has to play Tetris at some point in their life. And when you throw a Japanese aesthetic, yeah, you got me coming for it. I'm gonna be all over it, and I've sunk about 40-50 hours into this and Tetris 99. I love this game so much. My partner loves it, and actually my partner's mother really enjoys Puyo Puyo Tetris. It's a great game, and if you're looking for something a bit different, something that you can pick up and play, and something that you can play with friends and have a good laugh, then you can't go wrong with Puyo Puyo Tetris 2. From obscure visual novels to puzzle games, we got something a bit closer to my own heart. We've got a JRPG, which is my true wheelhouse. We've got Xenoblade Chronicles, the definitive edition, and I absolutely love this game. This is probably my favourite game on the Nintendo Switch. Great game, played it back in 2020 and had a fantastic time. This 2020 remaster of the original Xenoblade Chronicles for the Nintendo Wii sees you step into the shoes of Shulk as you explore two massive mech-like titans, Bionis and Mechonis, on a journey to uncover the mystery of Shulk's past and the legendary weapon known as the Monado. What makes this game so special for me is the amazing open world. Monolith Soft did a fantastic job in creating a alive and believable open world, and for a Switch game, it's absolutely massive. It's breathtaking, so much verticality, and you'll get lost a lot in this map, and it can be quite confusing at times, but in terms of an open world and open zones, it doesn't get much better than this on the Nintendo Switch. I also really enjoyed the story, very emotional. Come the ending, it does pose a very interesting, almost ambiguous question about the whole origin of this universe, and I haven't played Xenoblade Chronicles 2 or 3, so hopefully it touches upon the very interesting ending on this and kind of fits into the whole Xeno saga, Xenogears universe. But yeah, I absolutely love the story, and the characters are fantastic as well. Got great humour, and they're also voiced by British voice actors, which just adds to the charm for me. I also really enjoyed the combat system. While it can feel a bit clunky with the UI and it does take a bit of time to get used to, once it clicks, it feels very tactical, and once you've got the full roster of party members, you're able to chain together some amazing combos, and it does get very difficult near the end, so stick with it. It can feel a bit weird at first because it is a hybrid between turn-based and real-time, but once you get the hang of it, it's a fantastic combat system. And the last thing I want to touch upon is the amazing soundtrack. This soundtrack is one of the best in JRPG games, and back when me and my partner moved into this house in 2023, I remember it just like it was yesterday. I was in this room right here, setting it up for us ready to move in, and I had the Satorl Marsh soundtrack playing from Xenoblade Chronicles, the night theme, and I remember that song blasting, and I was stood looking out the window and I was just brought to tears. I think I was just so overwhelmed by the house, and that moment in time I was so proud of what me and my partner had achieved, and so grateful that we got our first house. And when a game and a soundtrack, not even in the game, you know, outside of playing the game, brings you to tears, you know you got something special. So if nothing else, definitely check out this game for the fantastic soundtrack. And if you love JRPGs, then please, you owe it to yourself to check out this fantastic game. It doesn't get much better than this. From one JRPG Switch exclusive to another, we got Baten Kaitos 1 and 2, the HD remaster. Baten Kaitos 1 and 2 HD remaster is a collection that brings two cult classic GameCube titles back to life in Baten Kaitos, Eternal Wings and the Lost Ocean, and its prequel, Baten Kaitos Origins. Once again brought to us by the amazing people at Monolith Soft. They are truly wizards when it comes to JRPGs, And the best thing, in my opinion, about Baton Kaitos is definitely the very unique combat system. You essentially have a deck of cards and everything from attacking, healing comes from your deck of cards, and you basically have to chain together a number of combos and you need to pay attention to the number on the cards. It's explained in a decent way in the tutorial in the game. I'm probably not selling it very well, but as someone who loves Gwent from The Witcher 3, Queen's Blood from Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I just love card games, winning games, and this is definitely something very different from your normal JRPG turn-based combat system. Visually, the game is an absolute stunner. It uses fixed camera angles that give it a nostalgic feel reminiscent of classic JRPGs from the PlayStation 1 and the PlayStation 2 era. The environments and the overall graphics feel almost like a painting, very beautiful, and it really does capture that nostalgic PlayStation 1 JRPG aesthetic. And the story, again, very, very intriguing, as you would come to expect from Monolith Soft. And in terms of drawbacks, the only thing that I wish this game had when compared to the GameCube titles, I wish it had the English voice acting, because I don't really mind. I'm happy to play JRPGs in Japanese, but in terms of appealing to a mass audience, I think if they had the original voice actors from the GameCube titles in English, I think that would have been the cherry on the cake. But for me, not a major drawback in terms of this remaster. And in terms of Baton Kaitos Origins, we never got it in the PAL region, so this is the only official way to play through the prequel known as Baton Kaitos Origins. So in terms of playing through some fantastic and fairly expensive GameCube games, you can't go wrong with Baton Kaitos 1 and 2, the HD remaster. If Galaxy Trotting, End of the World JRPGs aren't your bag, then hopefully this next game will be right up your alley. Next up, we got Stardew Valley, which I absolutely love playing through, and I think it's an absolute staple on the Nintendo Switch. Stardew Valley is a cozy farming simulator developed entirely by one person, Eric Barone, also known as Concerned Ape. This game is a true labour of love and one of the most addictive and wholesome experiences you can have on the Switch. You start off by inheriting your granddad's old farm, and from there it's entirely up to you how you spend your days, whether it's planting crops, raising animals, mining for resources, fishing, decorating your home, or even building relationships with the townspeople. Yes, even romance. Now, I'm definitely not the biggest fan when it comes to farming sims. They just feel like too much busy work, and after busting your you-know-what at work, the last thing I want to do is come back and do some even more grindy work on a game. But I think the great thing about Stardew Valley is just the overall aesthetic. It's got some amazing pixel art, such a relaxing, cozy soundtrack. I just love the soundtrack, and I've probably sunk about 40 hours into this game, and I've also played it a lot with my partner, who absolutely adores this game. She's sunk well over 150 hours into this game, and the fact that this comes from a single developer, it just blows my mind how creative and how talented that person is. And if you're looking for something that is definitely cozy, quite relaxing, then you can't go much further than Stardew Valley, and it's right at home on the Nintendo Switch. Now, I can't make any game list without mentioning a Final Fantasy game, but this one is definitely a bit different. We've got Theatre Rhythm, Final Bar Line, and this is a great game. Theatre Rhythm Final Bar Line is a rhythm game that lets you relive the iconic music of the Final Fantasy series by tapping, holding and sliding your way through hundreds of tracks. This game is absolutely stacked with content. You've got over 300 songs right out of the box from pretty much every single Final Fantasy game, from the classic NES chiptunes to the orchestra epics of the modern entries. And with DLC, it even expands into other Square Enix franchises like Nier, Chrono Trigger, Live Alive and Octopath Traveler. For any fan of JRPG music, this game is pure heaven. What I really love about Theatre Rhythm is not only the amazing rhythm-based gameplay, it's also the light RPG mechanics where you've got a party of 3, and basically as you clear stages and progress through the various Final Fantasy games, you actually level up and gain new abilities and new costumes, and it just adds to the overall aesthetic and the callbacks to all of the Final Fantasy games. And fun fact about me, I was a massive Guitar Hero fan back in the day. I spent so many hours on Guitar Hero 3, World Tour, Rock Band, and while this doesn't hit the same heights as Guitar Hero, it does come pretty close. And if you're a fan of JRPG music, or definitely Final Fantasy, then you need to pick this up because it's a great game and it plays so well on the Switch in handheld mode. Unbelievable way to relive some of those classic Final Fantasy moments. So if you haven't played it, please pick this one up, you won't regret it. Right, back to some visual novel goodness, because I think they play best on a handheld and they're right at home on the Nintendo Switch. So the first one I want to cover from this developer is Danganronpa Decadence. Danganronpa Decadence is a collection that includes Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc, Danganronpa 2 Goodbye Despair, Danganronpa V3 Killing Harmony, and the board game style spin-off Ultimate Summer Camp. So you're getting a ton of content in one place. If you've never played Danganronpa before, you're in for a wild ride. So basically, you play as a high school student and you're trapped either in a school, on an island, and the only way to escape said location is to kill your way through the classmates and make sure you don't get discovered by Monokuma. And this game is so unsettling. I played this game probably 2 years ago and it was so claustrophobic and it was actually quite scary at times. And I haven't played a game for a while with this much atmosphere, and I just love how just Japanese it is and how intriguing the characters are, and it's just so funny. And it can get quite weird with Monokuma especially, and it can get very overly sexualized, which doesn't bother me. It's quite funny, and the music in this game also adds to the tension. And the other thing that I really enjoyed was the trials within the game. They play very similar to a Ace Attorney game, just a lot more tense and a lot more culling involved. While I've only played the first Danganronpa game, Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc, if the other two mainline games are half as good as the first one, then I'm in for a great time, and I'm definitely going to be playing those sooner rather than later. So if you're into murder mysteries, dark, twisted visual novel games, then you can't go much further than Danganronpa, as it is definitely probably the best visual novel game on the entire system. We've got one more visual novel game on the list, and apologies if you're not into visual novel games. I just think they play so well on the Switch in handheld, but I'd be remiss from not mentioning this one. So next up we've got AI the Somnium Files. AI the Somnium Files, developed by the creator of the Zero Escape series. It's a sci-fi murder mystery that blends detective work, mind-bending puzzles, and a surprising heartfelt story. You play as Detective Konami Date, who's trying to solve a series of bizarre murders with the help of his AI companion Iba, who literally lives in his eye socket. Yeah, it's that kind of game. What makes it stand out is the dream investigation mechanic. You literally dive into the subconscious of suspects and witnesses to uncover hidden truths. This game is fantastic, one of the best visual novel games on the Switch, and it's got everything I love about visual novels. So it's got great dialogue, a great cast of characters, and just tons of humour. There's so many laugh out loud moments in this game. 1 minute Konami Date is inspecting a dead body, then the next moment he's gushing over a porno mag that is found in the corner of the room. It's very weird, but I absolutely love this game, and it's got some very mind-bending puzzles in the dream investigation sequences. So definitely one if you're more of a puzzle fan and you want something that's a bit more involved when it comes to your visual novel games. It gets very weird, very over the top, very anime Japanese, which is everything I look for in my games. So out of these two, Danganronpa and AI the Somnium Files, either one I would definitely recommend picking up because they're both fantastic visual novel games on the Nintendo Switch. Now, I definitely did not want to neglect my first party Nintendo games, so I'm going to do these two in quick concessions. So we got Zelda Breath of the Wild and we got Super Mario Odyssey. So these two games are obviously staples. I'm sure everyone watching has got these games or has played them. Super Mario Odyssey, fantastic game, right up there for me with Super Mario Galaxy. Got this game way back in 2017 and had a blast playing it. Great level design, and just love the innovative gameplay with Cappy and how you can become different objects and characters within the world. And got great memories playing this back in the day in 2017. And Breath of the Wild was the first game I played on my brand new Nintendo Switch back in 2017. And I think this is probably my favourite Zelda game. I do prefer it over Tears of the Kingdom. I think it was just that wow factor when you stepped out onto the Great Plateau and you just saw the world and everything that you could get to. It just took me back to the Elder Scrolls Oblivion and Skyrim, where if you can see it, you can get to it. And I also really enjoyed the just aimless navigation and just being let to figure out things on your own and not being told directly where you have to go. And I also remember playing this in 2017 and just being blown away by the Switch as a console. It truly felt next gen, being able to play this game on the go on handheld and then docking it to the dock and playing it on my TV right where I left it in handheld mode. It still feels next gen, to be fair. That whole, yeah, it's just insane. And this is where it all started. So if for whatever reason you haven't checked out these two games, then what the hell are you doing? Go and fix that and pick up two of the best Nintendo Switch first party games. So those are all the games that I wholeheartedly recommend. Those are games that I really enjoy playing on my Nintendo Switch. But before we close out the video, I want to go over 4 games that, while I haven't played, they're right at the top of my backlog. And from everything I've heard about these games, they look fantastic. So first up, we've got Astral Chain, which is still a exclusive to the Nintendo Switch. This is a hack and slash game brought to us by Platinum, so it's got that classic hack and slash combo system that Platinum are known for, and they brought us games like Bayonetta and Nier Automata. And it's also supposed to have a very intriguing story where you play as a cop, and you also get to control a Legion companion, so it does introduce some more interested and varied combat scenarios. And from everything that I've seen, this is going to be right up my alley in terms of a Japanese looking game. So if you haven't played Astral Chain, then jump on it because it looks like a very, very good Nintendo Switch exclusive. Next up, we've got one that I'm going to be saving for Halloween. We've got Signalis. This looks like a love letter to classic survival horror games from the PlayStation 1. Games like the OG Resident Evil, Silent Hill, and it's coated in an amazing old school, almost pixel art graphic style. And it's got all the trademarks of being a great survival horror game. It's got not the fixed camera, it's got a isometric camera angle, but it's got the limited inventory space, and everything I've seen about this game is meant to be fantastic. Got a very mind-bending story, which I do love in my games. So if you haven't played Signalis, then definitely pick it up. It's going to be one that you old school survival horror game fans are going to love. Now, like I said earlier, I'm not one for farming sims, but this one, from everything I've heard, is meant to be fantastic. So Sakuna of Rice and Ruin is a rice cultivating game, but you've also got the 2D side-scrolling elements of the game, where during the day you're cultivating your rice fields, and then during the night, to gather resources, you've got the 2D platforming hack and slash beat 'em up side-scrolling element of the game. And this game looks so relaxing. It's definitely one of those games I'm going to wait until the dark nights draw in and we're in fall season. I can imagine this game being so cozy, wrapped up on the sofa next to the fire, roaring away with a blanket. So if you are into farming games and you want something a bit different, then definitely check out Sakuna of Rice and Ruin. This final game, I've got no idea what it's about. It just looks absolutely batshit crazy. And that game is Yurikill, the Culmination Games. And this is basically a hybrid between a visual novel game and a bullet hell game. And if you didn't gather from this video, I do love a good visual novel game. And I also really enjoy bullet hell games from time to time. So this looks right up my alley and it looks very intriguing. And if you're a fan of visual novel games but you want one with a bit more gameplay, then Yurikill might be up your alley as well. So check it out, as it does look very intriguing and very unique. So those are all the games that I can either vouch for in terms of what I played, or games that I've heard nothing but great things about. And hopefully you've got some great games to add to your Nintendo Switch collection that you can either play on your OG Switch or the brand new Switch 2. Definitely let me know in the comments down below if you played any of the games that I recommended, or if there's any games that I need to add to my Nintendo Switch collection. And also let me know if you're going to be picking up a brand new Nintendo Switch 2 console and what you're going to be playing on that console. And while you're down there in the comments, if you haven't done so already, then please hit the like button and consider subscribing to the Collector's Quest channel. Of course, got the vintage carboot videos coming your way, and I've also got a very interesting brand new video series in the works. That's probably going to be a few weeks away, so definitely keep it locked to the Collector's Quest channel to watch that and all of the fantastic content we've got already on the channel. And as always, good luck on your game hunter collecting adventures. Take it easy, YouTube, and I'll catch you in the next one.